This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock.
Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena we embark on a journey into pure awesomeness. Today we begin Shark Week and a half for copyright reasons. Shark Week and a half. Yep, you guys heard me correct. An entire week and then some of decks built around the card Shark Typhoon, an absolute fan favorite, and one that absolutely struck me in such a way that when Cool Stuff Inc., my sponsor, my beautiful sponsor for the channel, approached me and asked, CGB, what token do you want to be? What token best just captures all that is the one in best of one? And I said, well, it has to be blue. So there were options. I could have been a Jace copy token. I could have been an illusion token. Something like that. Those sounded fine. In hindsight, maybe illusion was best because of Skyclave Apparition. But then I said, no, not awesome enough. This is not an illusion. We are the truth of MTG. And I went with a shark token. Wow, look at that. Look at it. And thankfully, the artist, Andre Garcia, just absolutely blew it out of the water. I'm so happy with the way that it turned out. Fist in the air. It feels very metal. Feels very Kaldheim. The weapon is a shark. The thing that I am riding is a shark. And when you go out there and you need to play Magic the Gathering against other people when paper Magic comes back, or heck, if you're just playing against your little sister in your home, it's all about asserting dominance. It's all about being the very best. And you do that with everything in your collection, from your sleeves to your tokens. So if you are playing a Shark Typhoon without this beautiful token, what are you doing? This gorgeous full art token can be yours only by pre-ordering a box of Kaldheim, any booster box. It can be a draft set or collector booster box of Kaldheim from CoolStuffInc.com. Check out CoolStuffInc.com/CHM. Place your pre-orders now. International fans, I am not tech support. You have to check if its shipping is allowed to your country. If not, you have to look up a freight forwarding service. People always ask me this, so I'm getting it out of the way. But definitely ships to the US and ships to some countries, so check it out. On that note, the deck. Shill, stuff. Shark Week and a half begins with a deck designed not to cycle Shark Typhoon. That's just weak. But to cast Shark Typhoon. Give it the hard cast with Titan's Nest. Titan's Nest says at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card into your graveyard. Exile a card from your graveyard, add a colorless. Spend this mana only to cast colored spell without X in its mana cost. So, before you guys start freaking out about the power of Titan's Nest, you can't cast Ugin. It's not colored. You can't cast Ultimatums. They're 100% colored costs. But it can pay the cost on a Shark Typhoon, which is one of the better, not on the cycle. Like, you can't make a shark with it, but you can hard cast it for 1 blue and 5 cards from your graveyard, which is kind of what the deck is about. It's a blue-black control deck that tries to resolve Titan's Nest, then resolve Shark Typhoon on the cheap, then play large cards like Planeswalkers or like Ashiok and Garruk, or heck, just play other card draw spells, counter spells, and removal spells, make a bunch of sharks, win the game. This deck is absurdly fun, and the patterns actually work out better than you would think they do. Early in the game, try to counter and kill things that matter. Middle of the game, play Titan's Nest. End of the game, cast Shark Typhoon on the cheap with Titan's Nest, then cast a bunch of other removal spells, make a bunch of sharks, overwhelm the opponent. If the opponent tries to kill your Shark Typhoon, counter it with Negate, or with Whirlwind Denial. Whirlwind Denial makes it into the deck because it's only got 1 blue in its casting cost, which means you can hold open a single blue mana and cast Whirlwind Denial with Titan's Nest. That's why it's in there instead of Neutralize. So if you want to play Neutralize, I understand, but I would recommend Whirlwind Denial, especially since people don't play around it, and it does have other abilities as well. It can stop triggers. One of my favorite to counter is a Yorion returning to battlefield trigger. Sometimes that's the right play. Anyway, Thirst for Meaning. This is the other card that looks out of place. You've seen all the other cards in my decks before, but Thirst for Meaning lets you draw 3, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an enchantment. It's not something I play every day. In this case, the enchantments we can discard are Titan's Nest if you have multiple copies, or Shark Typhoon, which we don't really want to discard. So the trick is that most of the time you do not discard an enchantment. Most of the time you discard 2 cards, either a land or a removal spell that you're not using, or something that's too expensive for you to cast right now. And the reason for that is we actually want to fill our graveyard with Thirst for Meaning so that we have graveyard for Titan's Nest. It actually pays off really well. My deck used to run Reign of Revelation in this spot, but Thirst for Meaning is a 3, and Titan's Nest is a 4, and then all my other nonsense is more expensive, so the curve is better. You can play Thirst on 3, Titan on 4, Nonsense on 5. It's a good look. So, that is the deck. Also, Gigantha, I didn't go out of my way. I didn't cut anything to run the Gigantha. If you run Neutralize, then you can't Gigantha. If you run Shadow's Verdict, then you can't Gigantha. Those are both cards you might put in the deck and then cut the Gigantha. The Gigantha isn't tremendously important, but you do have a lot of extra mana, and you can play it for just 1 green if you have 4 cards in your graveyard and a Titan's Nest. So it's not the worst. So there you go. That's the deck. Are you guys ready to dive in and let Shark into Half Week begin? Copyright that. Don't let anybody touch it. Remember to get your Shark token by pre-ordering Kaldheim on CoolStuffInc.com. Let's dive in and let the nonsense begin. Warm-up game. First game of the day. Play queue just to knock the rust off. Felt janky. Might delete later. Seems really slow, but it has the nest. Oh my gosh, it's so slow, right? Nothing to lose in the play queue, though. Our opponent gets to open on Speaker and Luminarch, of course. 3 Fabled Passages out of 4, because the Shuffler is always fine. No Luminarch. All right. Do we cycle a Shark Typhoon and try to find a turn 3 play, or do we crack a Fabled Passage and make a turn 3 play, like buying Gigantha? I think cycling Shark Typhoon for nothing is pretty bad, but we are falling way behind, and our plan is to play Nest on turn 4, so I guess we're cycling Shark Typhoon. Plus, it might make the opponent think I'm going to blow something up. Second Speaker. It's going to need Extinction Event. So they're not playing, like, usually their deck is full of cheap creatures, and they're not playing those, which tells me Skyclave Apparition and Giant Killer, maybe Glass Casket, is what they're running. Because I don't think they keep a hand that's just 1 mana 1/1s for any period of time. Whirlwind Denial. That's a turn 3 play, but we don't have the mana. Heartless Act, we can play that. Let's pass the turn. So one thing we have to think about when deciding if we're casting Nest next turn is whether or not we think the opponent is going to have a Skyclave Apparition for it, and if it would be better to hold the Nest until we can protect it. Let's kill something now. Keep the opponent from getting to 27 life as long as possible. Oh, never mind. That didn't work. Light of Hope, 4/4 Angel. Alright, what can we draw? Removal spell would be really nice. Extinction Event's okay. We can name Odd and get rid of the Speaker and leave the Angel and deal with it later. Let's get another blue. Deck definitely needs multiple blue to function. Not the finest, but if we hadn't Heartless acted the other Speaker, they'd have 2 4/4s here, and we'd definitely be dead. Pass rate. 5 cards in the graveyard, so we're doing good on that. We drop to 12. It's definitely getting scary. We have a few things that we can do. We can play the Nest and play a Shark Typhoon, just hardcast it. I do still think the opponent's going to play a Skyclave Apparition, and I think we can take care of the board with Ashiok and Garruk if we untap with the Nest. So let's play the Nest. Let's play the land. We'll say go. I think the opponent will pump this, knock me a 6, play Skyclave Apparition, target the Nest. That's my prediction. 6/6 acquired. I mean, if they don't play Apparition, that's just fine. Their dog is excited, of course. Ooh. Field of Ruin. Okay. So that feeds our graveyard, actually. I could Whirlwind deny it, but I actually like this. We have to make sure we fetch a green. We also still have Fabled Passage. So am I making a play this turn? Not really, right? Like, cycling the Shark Typhoon's not good. I guess I can fetch now. Thin the deck and give myself chances of drawing something very useful. But this is going to be a fun turn. Graveyard. 8 cards. We have Eliminate. Eliminate for the Angel or the Basri. That's really nice. So, first things first. Using Titan's Nest is something. Something to get used to. We can't lose to the Angel, so that's one of our priorities. But I really do want the Shark Typhoon. Alright, so 3 cards in graveyard. Eliminate is 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so let's start with, let's see, 1, 2, 3. And then we have 1 left over, but nothing in the grave, so we'll go with Ashiok so we can still eliminate, which also removes the token just fine. The opponent, by the way, revealed blue mana last turn, which is a bit unexpected. So maybe we're supposed to play around counter magic from our opponent here. They get rid of a Fae of Wishes. Okay. I can attack the Basri at some point. Let's say go and hold the Eliminate open. Luris. Speaker is in the graveyard with 28 life. Here's the question, though. How do we... I guess we Garruk the Speaker or the Luris. It's still complicated, right? Am I going to blow up the Basri Ket? I can attack the Basri Ket. I don't need to. So this is now indestructible, but we can kill it next turn. The opponent might have... They can't attack, so what we do here is eliminate the Speaker. Now we attack the Basri Ket. We graveyard everything just to fuel the Nest, even the good cards. And then we Huntsman the Luris. Shall we check on Auto Tapper here? What is there? There's only 2 cards in the graveyard, so I don't think I'll get to Whirlwind Denial. We'll just do it like this. Six Shark. Kill the Luris. Draw a card. Yeah, play a land. Something could happen to the Nest and we might want 6 mana. Banishing Light. You solved 1 problem. There are a lot of problems left. Alright. Wolves, please. Good game. Yeah. So, 28-6, but they're not coming back from this spot. All right, that was a good warm-up. I feel like I stretched. I'm ready to try this out on the big stage. Good removal spells, counter spell. Easy keep, I think. Wood. Wood is a resource in Warcraft, I think. Warcraft 1 or Warcraft 2 OG. What I'm wondering is which land do I play first? Remember, the green is only for Nest and Huntsman, but we do want to make sure that we have access to it. If we fetch green on one, the Vantress enters tapped. I think I'm better off playing tapped Vantress so that any land off the top gives me untapped passage on 4. That plays around Heartless Act beautifully, doesn't it? Is mono white not just the ultimate flavor of the week? Alright, I'm going to point this Heartless Act at something. It won't be the Luminarch, but I think they'll play something else. And if they play like a Heliod, we can Jwari it. Mono white. We're going to be looking for Eliminate. We're going to be looking for Extinction Event. They do play Heliod. I had wanted to play Jwari as a land, so this does feel bad, but I think it's the play. Alright. More blue, more black. If we play double blue, they'll think counter. If we play double black, they might not. And we want the Whirlwind Denial to catch something good. They have Crawling Barrens in their white deck. That's a pain. Yep, the clock is ticking away on us. Tick-tock, tick-tock. So if they pass the turn and don't play anything, we can cycle the Shark. They can go for another Heliod. No. Away with you. No Nest. Just both of my 6-drops. No big deal. No big deal. I kind of hope they play land, activate Barrens, and attack with it. We can trade it with Shark Typhoon. But it doesn't look like they're activating. So I think we just block this. Let's go get a green. And going second against Luminarch stinks when you have Heartless Act as your only removal. Alright, castle off the top. This means that we can drop Ashiok here. And the opponent will probably spend their turn attacking the Ashiok, but it does depend what else they cast here. What do you got? Oh, nice. Okay. I mean, they made sure it resolved, but it's still vulnerable. And we draw the land for next turn. This is good. This is good. It looked really bleak, but this is good. If the opponent spends their whole turn attacking with the Barrens, then they won't be ready for Garruk.
Racing mind, surrender them to me.
Glass Casket, exiled, good choice. Although now they don't have it for the Wolves.
So but a dream to me.
Actually, it's a decision, right? Because they could play Aspirant and prepare to Sky Maul at the next turn, or they could kill the Ashiok. They're choosing to kill the Ashiok, but it takes their whole turn. It's the tempo we needed. If we were out of gas here, I wouldn't blame them for that at all. Of course, we know we're not. And this is just a bit of a disaster for them. As Garruk can minus to kill a thing, the Wolves gum up the ground, so they have to spend mana equipping the Sky Maul. Aspirant returns. Sky Maul returns. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're moving in on their Luminarch Aspirant here. So, we could exile the Evens, then they have no creature, then make 2 more Wolves, and hold up a Heartless Act, which is pretty good. We can also minus the Garruk, kill this, draw a card, play other Garruk. That's pretty darn good. I think that's best. That's a lot of board position really fast. And it leaves them in a really bad place. Next turn, we might have the play of Heartless Act our own Wolf Ultimate Garrick. They keep on coming. They keep on coming. Goodness gracious. Alright. Counter is on the Lurrus. Extinction Event on Odd gets rid of it. Did we make the play I talked about? So, when this dies, put a loyalty counter on each Garrick you control. That would be 3 5/5s. And the opponent's at 16. And we're at 13. Yeah, let's change the equation. Let's change the race. Odd, exile Lurrus. Let's flip the frickin' script. Destroy target creature with no counters. That's you. Counter on the Garrick. -6. Attack for 15. I don't think the opponent can kill me from 13 with the mono-white deck in the position they're in. Not even close. Opponent... Oh! As Merchant said in a video recently, when they read the card, you know you've done something good. Play it as a land. We may end up needing it. Yeah, don't save your cards like the DFCs, especially one like Jawara Disruption. That's kind of low impact unless you are absolutely certain. Like, you can think of a really good reason. If you sit there like, I don't know, I might need it, maybe. If you're a hoarder, you're the type of person who ends up on hoarders. If you got a closet full of stuff you never use, maybe you're the person who holds that. But usually playing it as a land will get you more value down the stretch, because now we have enough land to buy Giganta and cast it, should we actually want to. Should we want to Elemental Elk our opponent? Alright, Sky Maul on a life-linking 4/4, but these are 5/5s, and they have Trample. Our opponent is dead. This appears to be BM, but I just want Giganta to get some time on the battlefield in Mythic. It's like bringing Rudy off the bench at the end of the game, you know? You bring off the lovable guy who's on the practice squad and works so hard but never gets game time. So, yeah, we're putting Giganta into the game on the mop-up duty to feel like he's on the team. And we pulled that off against the great, the powerful, the mono-white, piloted by Wood. Ryusen, number 461. We represent number 164 against Yorion. I don't think I could, like, I would have to stack my deck to make my hand worse against Yorion than 3 Extinction Events. I guess if this were the 4th, and if we keep this hand, we will draw the 4th Extinction Event off the top. I am tempted to keep it for the content, because 100% Shuffler is fine, but that's a mulligan. This is much better. Let's put the event away. It's not a great hand, though. There's no Nest. And Nest is not good against Esper, if that's indeed what we're up against, because they have a million ways to kill it. Doom Foretold, Elspeth Conquers Death, Skyclave Apparition. Nest is a joke. Also, it doesn't get out on curve against... What's the card? Elspeth's Nightmare, that's it. Elspeth's Nightmare ends up taking it from your hand. So this is a terrible matchup. We would need a lot to go right to win, and being on the draw and on a mulligan, it doesn't look good. Do we hold up Denial? What would they play? Doom Foretold? I actually want them to play Doom Foretold rather than eat a permanent later. Let's buy Giganta. They're gonna play Omen, yeah. Because otherwise they would have bought Yorion. Okay, now they buy Yorion. I got some tokens to think about. Do I want to thin my deck? Not really. We'll kick it over to you. Whirlwind Denial, hopefully on the Yorion. I don't know, do I fire these off on tokens? Doesn't seem great, that's for sure. But it does mean that we're in a bit of a stalemate. Maybe that's where we want to be. I'm at least going to take this damage and think about it a little more. Alright, they went for the Yorion. That means more tokens. It also probably means they have more Yorions, because this is a very medium Yorion. But if I untap, play Gigantha. So I counter this. I untap, I play Gigantha. They play Elspeth Conquers Death. They eventually get the Yorion back anyway. But is that a good enough reason not to do something about this? I don't think so. So, roll in denial. Jwari. So the good news is if we play the Gigantha, then we follow up with the Garrick, and then hopefully they don't have another Yorion to flicker the ECD. Everything about this is hard and not good. We could give them another turn, see if we can get a mistake out of them. Try to save Jwari, maybe counter a second Yorion, or maybe they slam ECD and don't have untapped land. I think they'll believe I have a counter spell, which might get them to play slower. Give me time to draw cards. Alright, so goodbye tokens. They're passing turn doing nothing. They usually don't have many instants. Maybe a Heartless Act here or there. And they did miss their land drop. So they have all these spells, no lands. So we can try to out-mana them. Try to get to a place where we play like a Garrick and protect it with a counter spell. Hopefully not another Omen. Please no Omen. Well, life is hard. If they missed this land drop, we could draw land and have Jwari to protect Gigantha from Elspeth Conquers Death. Nope, they drew the land. Yeah, this is not going well. Shark Typhoon. What does that mean? If we slam that, it's definitely an ECD target. I think we cycle the Shark Typhoon. Try to put pressure on them. Eat a token. No, don't eat a token. Play it on end step. The opponent expects counter magic. But we're going to try to shift the tempo of this game by making a Shark on their end step and then untapping and playing either Garrick or Gigantha. They go for Doom. So we can discard the Heartless Act to the Doom. That's fine. Annoying, but fine. Grab more blue. We'll draw plenty of black. I wish it was an untapped land so that this could be a 5 because that goes through Yorion. But alas, what can you do? You can give up the Heartless, or the Eliminate now. We didn't draw a counterspell to defend the Garrick, so I still think we're going to get ECD'd. But I guess we may as well make some wolves and try to attack our opponent. We could also cast Gigantha, hope that gets them to play ECD, then hope Garrick sticks. I just don't think that's going to work. Oh, man. Yeah, better to play the thing that leaves 2 tokens to battle for the board.
You're not scared of dogs, are you?
Eliminate? Okay, they definitely plan to kill the Garrick then, because this puts a counter on the Garrick. I know it looks weird that I'm racing with 8 life, but I just, like, there's nothing else I can really do. If I sit back and defend, I'll just get picked apart. There's the ECD. We knew it! We knew it was happening the whole time.
I didn't like you anyway.
Take 3. Okay. Master of holding 2 mana open. They have another removal spell. They didn't use it on the Shark token, did they? I guess that's part of the joy of attacking them. Shoot down the Knight. Big draw. It's an extinction event, which isn't very helpful. Drop a Giganta. Elk in the house. And the opponent drops Yorion here. We're just done. Yep. That's game. That's game. Bad hand, a worse play out in a tough matchup. Nick Jimmy-o, Jimmy-o or something. Let's go. We've got some early removal if they're mono red. We have Thirst for Meaning. If they're not, we can discard some of these and get fresh cards. A card we haven't even drawn in. This is our 4th game with the deck. It's a 4 of. So a missing piece of the deck for sure so far. And it definitely contributed to just having the wrong cards in the last game. A few Thirst for Meaning would have gone a long way. We also haven't had a nest in a minute, right? We haven't had a nest since game 1. And it's called Sultai Nest. That can't be a good thing. We Jund? Okay. Don't kill that. They can just play land and get it back. I mean, there's a time and place for everything, of course, but I don't think this is the time and place to use spot removal on Skyclave Shade. We can try to set it up for a tragic extinction event instead. What the heck am I playing against? So far we have white and red and black and green. Shrine Skyclave Shade. I don't know. Winota? I mean, we still need another source for that. I don't know what's going on. And it's ranked number 110. We've got a brew. Alright, so we can discard the Typhoon or the Titan's Nest. We definitely want to play the Nest. We'd also discard 2 Heartless Acts and save the Typhoon. I mean, it is one of our big win cons. Let's decline. Let's give up 1 Heartless Act, and how about 1 Giganta? 1 Zargoth Triumph. We don't want to play a tap land here. Rewarded. Alright, Titan's Nest. Please do not remove. I like this card. Please do not kill. Graveyard at 3. Or Strider. Alright. Alright, that makes the extinction event a lot more awkward. This does look like some kind of a Winota. Graveyard because we need to fuel it, even though that looks like a pretty sweet card. So, we have Heartless Act, which can kill 1 thing. The cool thing about Extinction Event here is if they sacrifice the Shade, we name Odd. But what I most want to do is play the Shark Typhoon. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So I think that the play is to land this tapped land, cast Shark Typhoon, hold up Heartless Act. One by one. By one by one. Like toy soldiers. The opponent is impressed. I will say thanks. It is... I am advertising my shark token by spamming HARDCAST Typhoon down people's throats. It's an experience. Alright, here's the attack. Destroy target creature with no counters, that's you. Make 2/2 shark. Village Rites. A Crow in War comes to mind as a card they could be running. The green card, I have no idea. Corvold? Is this 4-color sacrifice? So it could be like black-red with Corvold and I don't know, what's the white card? Maybe it really is just Jund and they're not playing white at all. That's reasonable. Rewarded for binning that Fable passage as I drew another. How are we going to draw more cards? Maybe I don't need to. Maybe I can just get far enough ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Evens. No more Skyclave Shade. One by one by one. At least I don't have to click the nest every time if you're using Auto Tapper for it. But Auto Tapper also messes up very often and doesn't let you leave open mana. I'd feel a lot better though if I had a castle or some card draw. I'm scared that I'm gonna run out of steam if the Ashiok dies. Cringe. Yeah, steal and sacrifice. This is part of what happens. But they didn't steal 2 things. They only stole 1. No! The Ashiok died. Now, can they kill the shark? Jeez. Alright, they've got it going on. The opponent's deck is working. Our deck is working, but we need to draw more spells. Hopefully Titan's Nest helps us find them. Graveyard. Worst case scenario, just engaged. Yeah, worst case scenario coming together right now. We'll make them have the Akroan War for the Gigantha. It's too easy, man. It's too easy. They're obliterating us. This has to attack. Well, I guess it doesn't have to do it this turn. We could hold on to it for 1 more turn. Like, we can block the Gigantha next turn, so that's a better use of the token, because they can just get back the Shade if they have a land. 3rd Shade. How it? Okay. Library. Let's go.
You ever listen to the crickets? That's my kind of music.
What about... Okay, those can't block. What if we just made wolves instead and tried to ultimate? Rather than killing something. Yeah, we just chump block their Gigantha, right? Now, they might have a few steal effects, but if we can ultimate the Garruk, I think that's how we win. I also think I hold this. We have Thirst for Meaning in the deck. So next turn, everything has to attack. And they have these shades that can't block. So we'll see if they attack with the shades here. It's not a great attack for them. They make some Gigantha mana, of course. Good way to play a Corvold for sure if you got it. Garruk can kill the Corvold unless they can steal the Shark with a claim. This is an interesting spot. There's so many things that could happen. Okay, they're not going to attack with the Shades because they already played their land for turn and fetched. And they don't have Corvold, or they would play Corvold before they fetched. Gigantha taps for mana. Now it can't block. Now remember, you can only use this to pay the colored part of the ability. Okay. Akroan War steals a Shark. Feels bad. War on War on War. Who would have thought the Akroan War would give me such a hard time? My control-ish deck. Alright, Low Striker. Alright, these all have to attack. These die to Akroan War when it goes off. I get back the Gigantha. Library. Alright, how do we do this? I could bounce the Akroan War and get back my Shark. Yeah. Then I attack with these. If the opponent blocks any of them and they die, we ultimate the Garruk. Oh wait, they have the Woe Strider. That doesn't work. They have the Woe Strider. How do we get rid of the Woe Strider? I guess either, like, even if they sacrifice this and we don't get the Shark back, at least... So we could target the Woe Strider with the Garruk. and then they have to sacrifice this in response, or we bounce this. Then they play it next turn, I guess. This is complicated. This is hard. The card draw could also really do something. All right, I'm making this play. It's definitely crazy. Yep, they sacrifice my Gigantha because they're about to get it back because of the war. I'm not sure they can escape this from the graveyard, so they're probably going to keep the shark because they don't think anything bad is going to happen to their Crow in War. That's a good draw. So Ashiok, make a shark. Return this a Crow in War to their hand, get back my shark. So many potential uses for Whirlwind Denial in this matchup. It's going to be interesting. I do think this card is pretty bad. They could have played a ton of things on their turn. They didn't play this. It's not a claim. It's not a Corval. There's a lot of good, like, this card probably doesn't matter. So I'm sure they'll keep the Crow in War. And they need an untapped land to resolve it. We might just Whirlwind Deny it. Oh, they are really thinking here. They have Heartless Act, and they're going to cast it on my shark. Okay. That had Summoning Sickness, no big deal. That means the Crow in War gets exiled here. So no more Crow in War. I think that's a mistake, but I'm not sure. These have to attack. Exile 2 cards. The Wolves will die to this Crow in War exploding, which means the Garruk will go up to 4 loyalty. The downside is I don't have a lot of blockers for the Shade, but the Garruk should survive. The Ashiok might not. Let's hold this again for Thirst. Oh, we can cast Whirlwind Denial to make a shark at instant speed as well. If the opponent plays something pre-combat, that's a top deck. Oh my god. Okay. But we can counter them getting back Woe Strider. Do they have lethal? Almost. We can make a 3/3, but then we can't counter the return of the Woe Strider. This sequencing is perfect. So we can play Whirlwind Denial. We should have played it on the claim. Then the opponent would have had to pay some mana. Instead, we're doing it like this, which is super awkward. It's not going to counter anything. We definitely should have Whirlwind Denialed the claim, because now we're end up doing this to make a shark. It missed, like, I just didn't notice it was going to be lethal. I did not notice that I was facing lethal there. I was worried about the Planeswalkers and the re-sacrifice on the shark. If I had made them pay 4, they wouldn't be able to do anything else with their turn. Now they get to return Woe Strider and sacrifice the shark, so that is a brutal misplay. And we need a good spell, or flurry of spells. They keep on top. Must be nice. Must be nice. Eliminate. I think that's a good draw. It's another shark. It removes the Woe Strider. They have plenty of cards to bring Woe Strider back, but it's instant speed, so it can throw off their attempts at combat. This can make 2 wolves. This makes another 2/3, so we gum the ground up again. And we don't make any sharks in the air for the opponent to claim. And they're at 14. The attacks aren't good. We say go. A mucky ground battle, our Planeswalkers can win that fight. They move to combat. Blocking with the wolves will pump the Garruk. The opponent does not seem to care. Hold the eliminate till the last possible moment. You have to assume they have a card that they like, something they really want to use here. And maybe using eliminate can throw it off. This attack is really strange. Oh, by the way, the card they kept on top, I could have attacked and exiled it. I think that's a bit aggressive. It would have forced me to use the eliminate on the Woe Strider, then attack. It is another line. It might have been a very good one. It's a bit much for me. Okay, they're scrying. to the top. We'll keep that in mind and see if the attack might look safer for this token. All right. Whatever card they kept, it must be a really great one. It must get rid of the Garrick. Otherwise, that's a pretty tragic play. Woestrider comes back. I mean, it might just be a land so they can get back Shades. They did attack with them. Bonecrusher Giant for the token. So they kept on top, but I'm not going to get to exile it. So let's play... Let's see, we're going to be ultimating this Garrick. Makes the Shark huge. This pluses makes a huge. Do we care about Woestrider? What I'm trying to decide is if I want to eliminate this to keep my opponent from getting a Giant. I don't think I'm afraid of their Giant. This is fine. I think what I need to do is blow up this Woestrider at the perfect time. That's what I need to do, so we keep holding. Yes, that's... These also really help against Claim the Firstborn. Alright, Ashiok. Make 2/3. Garrick. Make it huge. And remember, we have 2 Sharks at instant speed. So if the opponent casts Claim on our 5/6, it's only a 2/3 for them. They have 3 cards in graveyard. They cast Bloodchief's Thirst on the Ashiok. That's unfortunate. Resolves. But I think we've got this now. I think we can do this. Yep, they play a Giant. They don't have a good attack step. Eliminate the Woestrider. We have to watch out for our life total, so I'm not eliminating the Giant. If they draw Claim the Firstborn and steal the 2/2 Shark, and we take 2 from the Giant, we're just so close to death. Something could go wrong. And we didn't miss lethal because we'd only have 10 in the air and enough blockers on the ground. So I think one more turn is perfectly fine. Another good draw. This can kill the... This can definitely take out the Giant. The 9/9 Shark, we might have to eliminate it. So we're going to hold up Eliminate. Here's the attack. We have the mana for Eliminate from Titan's Nest. We'll play this for blue so that we can also Jawari if we want to. Or black. Either way works. Does the opponent rip a Claim to keep the hope alive? They say good game. Good game. Bonecrusher Giant targeting the Garrick. Sure.
Go hunt something else.
And that's a scoop. Whew. Tough rumble with the sacrifice deck, but we come out the victors. And we are back for the post-game wrap, and the deck was shining, man. I usually don't include my warm-up games. I think I will this time. It was a pretty good game against a tier deck in the play queue, a mono-white aggro deck, which is very popular right now. And I didn't play one of them in ranked, so always good to show that matchup. Then the other thing is we lost to Yorion. Our draw was really bad. No Thirst for Meaning to smooth our draw. The Shark Typhoon and the Garrick were very vulnerable. We flooded a bit. We didn't have a Titan's Nest to draw any fire from them, and we didn't draw any gate. So yeah, that Yorion matchup was ugly. It probably looked uglier in this video than it is, but we definitely prefer to fight aggro decks the way the deck is currently set up. Other than that, we won our games in Mythic with this deck, and I know for a fact that there's a best of one player. I don't remember their name, but they play Titan's Nest all the time in Mythic because you've seen them on my channel. I played against them a number of times, and they're usually around 99%, and it's been that way for at least 2 seasons. So the deck has some pedigree, and I think it's better than people realize. I think the biggest reason not to play it is similar to Jeskai Whirlwind. You're often tapping out on turn 4 to play a card that, if removed, leaves you way behind. And Skyclave Apparition is more popular right now than I think it's ever been because of the rise of mono-white aggro. So, it's a tough... it's not a perfect meta deck, but it's better than it looks, is how I would put it. And if you really like the look of it, or you have Titan's Nest lying around and you want to play with it, by all means, play with it. You also don't need 4. If you only have 2 or 3 Titan's Nests and you always wanted something to do with them, just run with 2 or 3, run Reign of Revelation in its place. You'll play out a lot of games like a blue-black control deck, and then the games with Titan's Nest, you'll have a huge mana advantage, and it will be awesome. So that's my recommendation for the deck. And in true political fashion, I promise you, today, on day one of Shark and a Half Week, the one in Best of One, promises you, the viewer, the Cool Kids Club, the dojo, we will hardcast a Shark Typhoon in every single Shark Week and a Half video. Lock it in. It's gonna happen. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. You're cool.